Howdy people, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm calling today's video products I'm ditching / products I'm just getting rid of. So this is basically just a twist on like a declutter video or products I regret buying. So I've been on a really big like decluttering, de-hoarding, organizing kick lately. It's making my heart really happy. So we got rid of this stuff, making some room for some more. A lot of these products are ones I've had in my collection for way too long and I never use them. They're just wasting space. So the first thing I have is a highlighter palette from 𝐼𝐻𝐻. You can also find this brand and like stuff like this at TJ Maxx, but this is the Risque Beauty, I don't really know. But these were just way too dry. They just really didn't really do anything for me, so I'm getting rid of that one. Next thing is from Prime and Base Cosmetics. Now I did an entire video about several things that Prime and Base actually sent me, and I feel like their brand isn't really picking up any. Like, it's still a relatively small brand and no one really talks about them or knows about them, but I love their eyeshadows, which they actually discontinued for some reason, and I don't know why because they were so good. But this is the Pro Contour and Concealing Palette. So here's what it looks like, and the pans in here are huge. You get pretty much every shade of like neutral in the rainbow. So there are creams on top and then powders on the bottom. So you get two of these little, like they call them pages. So yeah, number one, the quality just wasn't there for me, and number two, you can't even buy it for yourself, so there's no point in even showing it on my channel. The next thing I have is this Lorac Pro palette. So there's a little store a few towns down from me that sells high-end makeup. I'm not sure if it's knockoff or if it's real. I mean, I never got any use out of it, and not just because I feel like these are really small, like the pans are really, really small in here, so I'm pretty sure it's a knockoff. I just don't really like the shades in here, so I'm really glad that I didn't spend my money on the $40-some palette from Lorac. The next thing I have is this NYX retractable lip liner in the shade Nude. This is just really dry. I've really come to love lip liners and pretty much any kind of like liner in general, whether it's eyes or lips. I like the ones that you sharpen because I feel like those usually they tend to be like a gel kind of formula, but they're a lot more creamy and usually they're a lot more long wearing. I just don't really like the retractable liners anymore. I mean, the color is really pretty. It's just a really nice nude, but I put this on today and it's just like dragging cement across my lips. Like, it's just so dry. I've had this for a really long time, but I feel like it's always been like that. Next thing I have is from Sally's. This has been through the ringer and I've actually barely used it. This is from the brand called Real Colors, and I actually have a couple of their face products. I have a bronzer and a highlighter, and I really, really do like those. And honestly, like when I swatched this one, they feel very creamy. Let me tell you what it actually is. This is the Real Colors eyeshadow palette, Adventure eyeshadow palette. I don't know. It's in the shade Music City. You just have all these shimmery shades. You got some, you know, champagne, some golden bronzy shades, a plum. But when I swatch them, they feel very, very creamy. Like, it's not that they don't swatch well or anything, but every time I use these, wow, that's really pretty. I actually might bring that back out and see if I like it because, I don't know, I'm starting to second guess myself now. Whenever I go back to things like this and they actually end up working for me, or like just anything really, even if it didn't work for me, I always think, well, maybe I just use the wrong brush with it. Maybe my technique has changed and I've improved my technique and stuff. So I may give this like 1 or 2 more shots just to see if it really is as good as it swatches, because that plum shade's really, really pretty. But I just never got use out of this, so I don't know. Next thing I have is this LA Colors matte eyeshadow palette in the shade Brown Tweed. I got this at Family Dollar or something like that, and I thought, you know what, I bet it's one of those palettes that it looks really cheap, but it's probably really good. But no, it's actually not very good. So you have all of these, you have 5 different matte shades, and this kind of put me in mind of the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette or whatever, where it's all matte. The pigmentation just isn't there, and not just when you swatch it with your finger, but when you actually pick it up with a brush. Actually, when you swatch it with your finger, it's not that bad. I can't second guess myself anymore. But yeah, on the eyes, just didn't perform all that well. Next thing I have is from Shop Miss A. So this was $1. This is a Sante liquid foundation. So I tried this one in my Shop Miss A video. I did an entire video all about like a ton of stuff. But this one just didn't do anything for me. It didn't really blend out all that well. The coverage wasn't good at all. And the color absolutely sucks. It's a really bad, like orangey, totally off color for me. But it also feels very, very thick. Like, it feels like a cheap foundation. So, goodbye. Next thing I have is from Beauty Creations. This is the Butterfly eyeshadow palette. So this is from Shop Hush. I really wanted to like this, and Beauty Creations is very, very hit and miss. Like, their formulas are all different. They're kind of like Profusion Cosmetics, where every palette's a different formula. But the shades are absolutely beautiful. You have some shimmers and mattes in here, but they're so dry. There's no pigmentation, no color payoff. I have several in here from Shop Hush, so I don't really know if I'm actually gonna get rid of them, because I feel like I will do a collective like shop hush video at some point where I talk about everything I've got. But for right now, this is getting decluttered. We'll find out a place for it later on. But this is the 𝐂𝐻𝐿EN eyeshadow palette. On the thing it says Delectables eyeshadow palette. I'm not really sure. It's called something different online. But here's what it looks like. This is actually a dupe for either a Smashbox palette or an Urban Decay palette. I think it's a dupe for an Urban Decay palette. It's such a weird mix of colors. There's no cohesion. Even if the colors were good, I still wouldn't be bragging about the quality of these. So this is getting tossed. Another one from Shop Hush is the 𝐂𝐻𝐿EN Neutral Eyeshadow Palette. Now, I'm pretty sure this one is called the Space Eyeshadow Palette. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. This one looks just like the Beauty Creations palette, like on the inside, like how it's set up and stuff. But again, very weird combination of colors, and these are all shimmers. There's only 2 mattes in here, but like I just don't know what to do with it. But the pigmentation is just so horrible. You can't really build them up. They're just really hard to work with. Don't like them. Next thing I have is the 𝐂𝐻𝐿EN Double Exposure Neutral Eyeshadow Palette. So let's just underline the fact that this says Neutral Eyeshadow Palette. This is far from neutral. Like these, no. So not only do these look extremely cheap, like they just look chunky and dry and gross, but these are the craziest colors. Like there are a few that are kind of pretty, but for the most part, this is such an ugly palette and it just doesn't perform very well. Okay, next thing I have, we're actually moving out of the Shop Hush stuff. I'm getting rid of this Becca Velvet Blurring Primer Perfecting Base. So I actually got this from 𝐿𝐻𝐿EY and I did like an entire video all about it and stuff where I put it on. This is so weird, okay? So it's super, super liquidy, like it seriously feels like water, but it doesn't do anything. It has this apricot hue to it, and it just feels very drying and cakey on my skin. So if you have dry skin, definitely stay away from this. I could see this maybe working for people with super oily skin, but honestly, there's just so much better out there. This is like $40. It ain't worth it. Next thing I have is from a brand that I haven't talked about yet. I did a video, but I haven't put it out yet because I know that no one will watch it because no one knows who the heck the brand is. But this is the Sistar Beauty Lit and Glow Luminizer Palette. So you'll have to get familiar with that name because you're gonna see several things in here from it. But these are all way too warm for me, but they're just not all that great. I just didn't really like the majority of the stuff that they sent me, and I feel like it sounds like I'm so ungrateful, but I've got to be honest about it. Like, it doesn't matter if someone sends me something or not. I'm going to tell you my blunt, honest opinion the way I would with something that I buy. So going along with that, I also have these Sistar Beauty Single Eyeshadows. These are real bad. Like, these are not good at all. So here's one shade. They're all like satin finishes. Like, they don't really build up all that well. They're not super pigmented, and they're just kind of like mediocre. If you want a good single eyeshadow, I would definitely recommend ColourPop, or like some of the Coastal Scents ones are really good. Makeup Geek's got some good ones. Just these are just not there. The next thing I have is the Sinful Colors Face Forward All Over Highlighter Stick. So I actually got a bunch of Sinful Colors stuff from, what's it, not Ipsy, Influencer. They sent me a big box of stuff. I guess, like, this is the nail polish brand, and they just now came out with a makeup line as well. Haven't seen it anywhere, though. They might be sold like Dollar General or something like that. But this isn't a bad color. It's like a champagne color, but it's very orangey, like it's very peach-based. You can't even really see it. Maybe you can see, yeah, there we go. On the skin, number one, I just don't like highlighter sticks because I feel like they pick up they pick up your foundation and stuff, and they just move it around. But this one just didn't really show up on my skin. It didn't really give me the glow that I want, so I don't know. It just isn't really worth it to me. And then going on with that, they also have this Bold Brow Intense Effects crayon color something. So, oh God, I almost dropped it. So this is an eyebrow product. What's up with this like colorful eyebrow trend? Like, can we just get away from that crap? Like, we're not children. So here's the applicator on it, and they actually sent me a cream eyeshadow as well, and I thought, well, maybe this is just a cream eyeshadow with a different applicator, but it's not. It's a different formula. I tried it on my eyes as an eyeshadow, and it looked awful. So you got a gold on one side, like a bright coppery gold, and then you got a plum, and I don't know who in the world would use something like this, but not just that, but the formula just isn't very good. It's very goopy and very sticky and gross. And let's just talk about the other product that I have from them as well. This is the actual eyeshadow. This is a cream eyeshadow. I was going to keep it and keep trying it. I may or may not do it. We'll see. This is the Shady Babe cream eyeshadow. So again, it's double-ended. You have a gold on this side and then like a navy blue on this side. And this one has a different applicator. It has a really nice applicator, actually. It's like a doe foot, like flexible kind of wand on it. But the blue sucks. Very patchy. you know, it just doesn't stick to the eye. It's just very sheer. But the reason I was going to keep trying it and keep playing around with it is because the gold actually isn't that bad. It actually looks pretty good on the eyes. Like, it's kind of like, it's just your basic gold. The blue is really pretty when you swatch it, but it shears out to nothingness. Next thing I have is a Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powder in the shade Crown of My Canopy. So if you guys watch my channel, you'll know that Precious Petals from this line, the Mega Glow highlighting powders, Precious Petals is the best drugstore highlighter. It's my favorite highlighter of all time, the best highlighter in my collection. But this one isn't, it's not that this one's bad. I'm getting rid of this one simply because the color is just not good for me. It's very orange. The next thing I have are a couple of concealers. I actually got these from Wish. So these are the Pop Feel High Definition Concealers. And these are just horrible colors. So both of these like ivory tone shades are like the lighter colored shades. These are very, very peachy and I can't get them to work. This one I got to use as like a contour slash bronzer kind of thing, but I just don't like the formula of these. It's very sheer, doesn't build up, very little coverage. Just, if you see it on Wish, just keep scrolling. The next thing I have are these trios from Hard Candy. So I actually don't mind these, I just never use them. So these are the contouring face trios, and I have the shades 3 Times a Charm, which is this one right here. It's a little bit darker. So there's what that one looks like. And then 3 Times a Lady. And 3 Times a Lady I actually kept in my collection for a really long time. It's more like pink based, and this one's more brown based. And the highlighters are super, super pretty. They are very wet, very metallic, but I never really use this kind of shade. Like, this is just way too icy pink for me, and I just never get use out of it. But the blush and the contour are actually really, really good. It's a very good formula overall. This one I stole, the 3 Times a Charm, I stole this one from my mom, so I'll probably just give it back to her. Next thing I have is from Femme Couture. This is a line at Sally's. This was actually sent to me by Sally's. This is the Mineral Effects Baked Eye Color in the shade Lotta Latte. Lotta Latte. If I break one more thing. So there's what that one looks like. It's just a baked eyeshadow. And honestly, I just don't really use baked eyeshadows. I don't really use single shadows unless they're in my Z powder, something like my customizable palettes. But this one's just really sheer and it's not pigmented. Like, I'm okay with something that's not super, super intense right off the bat and just like, you know, build it up. But this one, even when it's wet, isn't very extraordinary. Like, it's just very mediocre. I have another product from Sistar Beauty. They'll never send me anything ever again. This is the Ultimate Define Gel Eyeliner in the shade Black. This is just a retractable eyeliner. This is the driest eyeliner I've ever opened up. It's not pigmented. It doesn't even like translate onto my eyes. There's no color payoff. It swatches better on my hand, and even on my hand I had to like it started scratching my skin. This just isn't good. Like, I feel like Sistar Beauty needs to work on their formulas before they start sending out PR. But next thing I have is something else from Shop Miss A. This is $1 as well. This is the AOA Studio Wonder Cover HD Concealer in the shade White. I got this one just to use as like, you know, a brightener or like a concealer mixer, just to lighten concealers. I don't really like the formula of this. It's not horrible. You can get it to work and it will lighten everything, but it's just a really, like, it swatches out better than how it applies. It just doesn't blend out very well. And I found that when I used it underneath my concealers, or like mix it with my concealers, it just wouldn't really melt. So I would pass on these. I feel so bad for giving people stuff that sucks. These BH Cosmetics liquid foundations. Oh my God. First off, I do want to say that I found my perfect color match within this line, so it's really hard for me to give it up. I might even keep the one that matches me as like a color matcher or like a color mixer to mix it with other foundations that don't work for me. But the shade, what's the shade? Fair Golden. This is my perfect match. For some reason, it's really hard to find like a fair light shade with like a golden or olive undertone, which is what I have. But they did it very, very well with this one. But this formula, it's so bad. I have something else from Sistar. I have 2 more things from Sistar Beauty. I'm pretty sure I'm not keeping like anything they sent me. So I have the Pink Blossom eyeshadow palette. And you guys probably don't even care about this line. So, you know, for me to show you this probably doesn't mean anything to you. But hey, it's in the bag, so we're talking about it. So this has 6 shades in here with mattes and shimmers. And this is just a bad formula. I mean, I could get this to work and I did get a look out of it, but it just wasn't easy, so getting rid of it. Then the Sistar Beauty Dazzle Lash Long Lash Mascara. Oh God, really, really bad mascara. It's trying to be like the Benefit They're Real mascara with a little ball tip applicator on it, but super dry. Barely anything's dispersed onto the wand, so it just all around no-go. And then I have the Morphe 12 in B palette. So I don't know if they actually still sell these. This has 12 shades in it, yeah. Here's what it looks like. I got this several years back for Christmas, and I did like it for a short period of time, but the colors in here, particularly the shimmers in here, they're just not super intense. You can't really build them up. It's just a very like satin / matte look from this, and it's just kind of dull. Like I would see this being a really good everyday palette for somebody, but for me, I'm just kind of past this kind of color selection. I don't know. I just feel like every palette has this shade selection in it. It's just kind of mediocre, and I don't want no mediocre. I don't want no mediocre. The Maybelline Master Highlight Highlighting Blush in the shade Pink Rose is getting given to my mom. This isn't even a bad product. I just didn't use it. I don't really know why. Like, I can't even give you a good reason for it, because it does work. You can get it to translate onto your skin and stuff. So there you go, Mom. And then I have this Makeup Revolution Baked Blusher in the shade Make Love Instead. This one works. I can get it to work, but again, just not really my color. It's just mediocre once again. It actually looks just like that Maybelline one. Like, it even swatches the exact same, but these just aren't very pigmented. Well, not these. I can't say, like, I can't speak for all of them, but this one in particular is just a very thin consistency. I feel like that's the way with most baked products. I just feel like they're very thin and not very pigmented. And then I have the Laura Geller Baked Highlighter in the shade Golden Rose. I got this on eBay. I was in like a Laura Geller kick for a few months back in like a few years ago. This one is really good if you like a natural highlight. You guys know me though. I don't like the natural highlights. Yeah, you can build this up a little bit, but it stays pretty sheared. So, I don't know. If you're someone that doesn't like a super intense highlight, this would be a good product to check out. But I think I found this on eBay for like under $10. I know I wouldn't pay very much for it. And the last thing I have is from Milani. This is the Bella Eyes Gel Powder Eyeshadow in the shade Bella Cappuccino. And again, like if it's not in a customizable palette, like a magnetic palette, I just don't really use them. This just kind of laid around for years and never really got used. It's not that it's a bad product. It did work. Like it's one of those that isn't super intense or super pigmented, but you build it up and it does work fine. So that is it for products that I'm ditching and getting rid of and giving to someone else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed the style of it. Like just enjoyed a different title. Like I just like to do something, just, you know, spice it up a little bit. Just throw some different names here and there for the same type of video. But thank you all so much for watching. A thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel. Have a little button right down there. And I'll see you all in my next one. Mwah.